सभी को मेरा नमस्कार. Today I am going to read an editorial published in the Hindu newspaper. Why? Because of today's hectic life. We need to take our health more seriously and bring back the healthy food plate. So here is the editorial, and the title is "Toss out the junk food, bring back the healthy food plate." India, like in many other countries, is undergoing a major nutrition transition in what characterizes rapidly changing dietary patterns. There is a significant shift away from traditional diets, which were high in fiber and comprised mostly whole foods, to more Western style diets, which are processed and high in calories. This change has coincided with rapid economic progress and urbanization, along with a surge in the consumption of packaged and processed food, popularly called junk food. These foods are nutritionally low in vitamins, minerals, fiber, but are high in calories, fats, salt, sugar, and innumerable preservatives. Categorized as high in fats, salts, and sugars, HFSS foods. Scientific evidence shows how junk food has been medically found to weaken the body's defense against infection, increase blood pressure, lead to a spike in blood sugar, cause weight gain, and also contribute to increased risk of cancer. Often packaged as comfort food in India, example of such junk or HFSS foods include cookies, cakes, chips, namkeen, instant noodles, sugary drinks, frozen meals, canned food, Indian sweets, and bakery products. It should come as no surprise that India is experiencing an explosion of lifestyle diseases, with unhealthy diets being one of the single largest contributing factors. To put the magnitude of the health burden into perspective, an Indian Council of Medical Research ICMR study published in 2023 estimates that in India the prevalence of metabolic disorders is glaringly high, where 11% has diabetes, 35% is hypertensive, and almost 40% are suffering from abdominal obesity. A significant factor to consider while analyzing the evolving dietary habits of Indians is the influence of aggressive advertising to promote tasty and affordable comfort foods, particularly aimed at younger consumers. According to a pan India survey conducted by the Center for Science and Environment CSE, 93% of children ate food that was packaged, 68% drank packaged sweetened beverages more than once a week, and 53% ate these foods at least once a day. At the same time, the ultra processed food industry in India has expanded at a compound annual growth rate of 13.37% between 2011 and 2021. Moreover, India's food processing industry is predicted to be worth $535 billion by 25 to 26. As children are more exposed to the advertising of unhealthy food, the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India (FSSAI) released the Food Safety and Standards Safe Food and Balanced Diets for Children in School Regulations 2020, restricting the sale of HFSS in school canteens, mess premises, hostel kitchens, or within 50 meters of the school campus. Recently, the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights also issued notice to a health drink giant to evaluate and withdraw all misleading advertisements, packaging, and labels that brand the product as a health drink, citing the product's high sugar content that can adversely impact the health of children. Despite a policy intention to provide a safe food environment, there is still much work that needs to be done in ensuring effective implementation of interventions that can have an impact on the consumption of junk food. Here are 4 strategies that hold the key to translating policy intention into meaningful change on the ground. First, A good starting point for the government is to protect growing children from the harmful impact of junk food. While the FSSAI has released regulations for restricting the consumption of HFSS foods, currently there is no way to define or identify which food fall into the category of HFSS food. Thus, it is imperative that as the next step, the FSSAI goes ahead and defines what exactly constitutes HFSS foods in the Indian context, which can enable better implementation of food safety regulations. Moreover, institutions such as the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights can play an instrumental role in ensuring stricter compliance of school food regulations. Second, front of pack labeling (FOPL) appears to be a low hanging fruit which can enable consumers to make informed choices about what food they choose to eat. Currently, we have access to a mathematical nutrition table in small print on the back of food packets, which most of us neither notice nor comprehend. For instance, the next time you open a package of chips, are you going to sit and calculate how much salt are you consuming in a packet when the label states that there are XX micrograms of sodium per 100 grams? As an alternative, a warning label that states high in salt on the front might make more sense, particularly if you are a hypertensive patient. The latter example is an illustration of a front of package nutrition labeling practice that draws one's attention with clear and understandable signals that can help you make an informed food choice. Third, policies can also be developed to facilitate the positive subsidies for healthy foods such as whole foods, millets, fruits, and vegetables that will improve their availability, affordability, and thus greater consumption in rural and urban areas. The question for policymakers is how to make a fruit more affordable than a rupee 5 high salt chips packet and 2 rupee high sugar biscuits. Fourth, in addition to the policies, a behavioral change campaign targeting children and young adults alike can play a critical role in helping youth adopt healthy dietary habits and mindful eating practices. This can include multimedia messaging on the health impacts of junk food, campaigns building on vocal for local, which promotes local and seasonal foods and vegetables, and traditional foods such as millets, and interactive discussions on balanced diets, and tapping into social media influencers to mainstream conversations about the health risks of junk food. It is critical to acknowledge the urgency of switching to healthier diets and creating public demand, or as Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls it, a Jan Andolan, or people's movement for healthy and nutritionally diverse diets. These efforts must be accompanied by sincere policy interventions that help Indians exercise their rights to make informed food choices. So, what we can conclude today's reading is that if possible, try to take homemade food and avoid packaged food, or at least try to avoid high fat salt and sugary products. और हमारे ग्रंथों में कहा भी गया है, जैसा अन्न वैसा मन, और भोजन को सात्विक होना आवश्यक है. सात्विक भोजन मीन्स to avoid fat, salt